Hello and welcome to another episode of Fully Charged. This car that I'm driving at the moment is the Tesla P90D with a line under all that, which means ludicrous. This car has ludicrous mode. So it's just stupid. It's a joke, really. It's a joke, except for the actual technology is terrifying. Now, long-term viewers will know that I drive a Tesla Model S 85. It's got no letters before or after the number. It's just the number 85, which signifies the kilowatt hours in the battery. It's an 85 kilowatt hour battery. This is a Tesla 90 that has a 90 kilowatt hour battery, and this is an interesting little side fact. For those of you slightly more nerdy, the actual battery pack is the same weight and size as the one in my car, but it's got 5 kilowatt hours of extra storage, which is all about how batteries are getting more energy dense and more efficient and lighter and all those things. But so this is the P90DL, Ludicrous, and that it's a four-wheel drive version. Mine's only rear-wheel drive. This is four-wheel drive. It has two motors, one at the front, one at the rear, and it has considerably more acceleratory ability than the one I've got. And if I do it just very quickly now, this is going to be quite nauseous. I'm going to stop here, fully stop, and then, oh Christ, I didn't swear. Okay, so we're on a very quiet road in an industrial estate, and I just have to be careful because there are other road users, but it's very wide. I can see either side of the road, but that feeling is truly horrifying. It really is horrible, but at least I didn't say which I did the last time, because then you have to beep it out. But that is amazing that it can do that, because that's the first time I've done it. So I have driven the car quite a bit today, but I've been really ginger with it. But even like you're going round a roundabout and you can see your entrance is clear, so you just put your foot down and it does that. I mean, this is like a crazy stallion, and you've only ever ridden a donkey on the beach. It is bloody terrifying. So, you know, you come out of a corner. If I use exactly the same acceleration I would use in my 85, which would be about this, I'm doing that. I mean, my foot isn't hard down. It's terrifying. Well, it's just too fast. And then you keep seeing a car and you think that's a police car. And it is, which is extraordinary. But he was looking the other way, which is really useful. I'm so glad. He was looking at a suspicious character on the other side of the road. So in the previous car I tried, which was the P85D, four-wheel drive, 85 kilowatt hour battery, but that only had insane mode. It didn't have ludicrous mode. So that did 0 to 60 in about 3.2 sluggish, lazy, Sunday afternoon vicar driving seconds. This does 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds, and let me tell you, that is horrible. But yeah, it is a brutally quick car, and you've got to be very, very careful with it. But in its 90 kilowatt hour battery, what I've learned already, which is the last thing anyone wants to know about the P90D Ludicrous, is that the range is it's much bigger. Even though it's only 5 kilowatt hours, I can tell that you can really go a long way on it. It is an amazing difference. 5 kilowatt hours doesn't make any difference. It's nothing, is it? It's enough to run your fridge for a month. We'll do 30 to 60. So 30, 60. I don't know how long that took. Not very long. Because essentially all Teslas are very, very similar in their interior fittings. One thing that it is extraordinary what people see, and I think once again, and I don't want to go on about the specific issues that men have, but I have to say it's always men that comment about this, is the rubber trim that runs down the door here. If you get out like I do, which is because I'm old, I kind of grunt my way out of any car, my shoulder brushes that and it folds the rubber trim in, just a fraction. If I could count the number of comments and tweets I've had about how the rubber trim is out of place, it's off the scale. I'll see if I can do it now, because it's in place now. So what happens is it goes like that a bit. Can you see that? Already I can sense there's men all over the country wincing in agony at the fact that it's possible to do that with the rubber trim, which proves that this car isn't as well made as a BMW or a Mercedes, because their rubber trim doesn't do that. I don't even know whether it does or not, but let's pretend we do know. So yes, the rubber trim is the same in my car as it is in this one. This one is considerably more expensive than mine. I mean, you're buying an extra engine for if nothing else. You're getting an extra motor at the front. and it is incredibly fast. But here's my take on it, having driven it a couple of hundred miles today, is that 99.9% of the time you're just driving along roads where doing 0 to 30 in about a second is highly inappropriate and dangerous and stupid and wastes a lot of energy. That actually I've driven the car like you would drive any other car, like normally, like along the road like a normal person. Because you can't, like, man, I'm in a little suburb now, and there's a man looking to cross the road, but he's looking the other way. If I'd been doing the maximum I can do legally here, which is 30 miles an hour, I could get from 0 to 30 in the time it takes him to blink. So this is suburban driving, very sensible, 21 miles an hour, 41 miles an hour. In that time, we went from 21 to 41 in a 30 mile an hour zone. It's insane. It's not insane. I'll go further. It's ludicrous. If you want to kind of sit at the traffic lights and there's one of those cars with big exhausts, and you want to humiliate them and belittle them and denigrate their masculinity, then obviously you do need this car, because it will do it extremely efficiently. But if you want to go quite a long way without using very much energy, you wouldn't drive like that. And one of the interesting things I have noticed as I've driven this car today is that the general fuel usage, the energy usage is fractionally more than in my 85, but it's not enormously more. If you drive it sensibly, it's not like using 5 times more electricity per mile as mine does. It uses about, I don't know what, 5 or 10 watt hours a mile more than mine does, in the same sort of length of journey and the same similar road conditions. So this is a kind of very vague comparison, but what it shows me is that this car isn't hugely more energy hungry than the standard 85, which, considering it's got 2 motors and a bigger battery and has the ability to go terrifyingly fast, is quite intriguing. Because if you were to compare, say, a fuel efficient Jaguar with like a saloon car Jaguar with a Lamborghini, the Lamborghini uses more petrol, whether you're going fast or not, and clearly this car doesn't use an enormous amount more electricity to cover the same distance, and it's very dependent on how you drive it. If you're driving it really hard and you're breaking the speed limit, then yes, it will obviously use more. And accelerating, as you can tell by the consumption graph on the display there, accelerating hard uses an enormous amount of electricity, because ludicrous mode basically allows the battery to deliver all the energy it possibly can in one blast. So the motors are having this enormous blast of electricity, which is what gives you that explosive acceleration. But that wouldn't be a sensible way of driving, even though I have to admit that I think I'm becoming hardened. I'm becoming a Tesla hard ass, because even though it makes me feel dizzy and slightly weird in the tummy, it doesn't actually make me swear as much and make me as nauseous as it did the first time I had to go in one. So I'm becoming harder, because I had a lot of criticism on the previous video of what a pussy I was. That was a very commonly used term. This guy is such a pussy, he can't take the acceleration. He'd be hopeless in my, and then they listed a pathetically inefficient and crude, clunking petrol-type sports car, which I wasn't impressed with. Of course, there are times with this car where it is just glorious, because like now I'm pulling onto a motorway, and there's a speed limit on the slip road onto the motorway, and then you just know that you kind of get down to the bottom bit like I am now, and then you go, who's coming up behind me? Oh, there's someone there. Oh, I'll just get in front of them. That's quite easy to do. Oh, do I want to go to this way? But then you realise you didn't want to pull out in front of them anyway, because you got the wrong way. But still, I could pull out in front of them if I need to, in a safe and controlled manner, while maintaining the legal speed limit at all times. It's just you can get to the danger is you get to the speed limit so quickly you don't think that you're there. So, it's fair to say this is a very different experience from driving my meagre Tesla 85, Model S 85, but this is the P90D. It is an extraordinary Just give it a little polish. So this car costs over £100,000 to have it specced out the same as this one. It's got four-wheel drive, it's got auto park, it's got auto steer, it's got auto everything. It does 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. So it's a really expensive car with an impressive performance. But if you want to buy a petrol car that can actually beat this 0 to 60, you've got to spend over £1 million, and in some cases nearly £2 million to get equivalent performance, which is insane. So if you want to have a car that does 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds, and you want to save yourself between £1 million and £900,000, this is the baby for you. If you get a chance to have a go in one, grab it, because you won't forget what it's like. I don't feel nauseous, I'm not going to swear, it's been brilliant. So thank you for watching Fully Charged. Remember to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I just really want to say a big thank you to all the people who supported Fully Charged on Patreon. It's really made a big difference. It makes continuing this show really, really possible. We're going to be doing new episodes every week. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. Click that little subscribe button. You know you want to. And if you haven't donated anything by Patreon, that is brilliant. That's fine. There's no problem, no pressure. But if you want to, very, very small amounts every month. It's tiny. It's not even a coffee. It's half a coffee. Then you can just click the link down there. Just have a look, see. And if you look at it and you go, don't want to do it, don't do it. No pressure. I'm not pressuring you. Don't do it. Don't click that link. Don't do it.